Welcome to Third Eyesight. I'm your host, Juan Francisco, and I'm a spiritual intuitive who practices tarot card reading and mediumship. I've always been super curious about the supernatural and paranormal, and I'm here to share my stories and interview folks who want to share their own stories. Let's get to it. Hey everybody, and welcome to a new week of Third Eyesight. Just want to quickly say, if you really enjoy this podcast, give it a review. On Spotify, you will find it on your phone only in the phone app. And it's towards the top of the page of this podcast on Spotify. In Apple Podcasts, it's at the bottom of the podcast page for Third Eyesight. And I believe in Google Podcasts, you'll find it on the same. It's very easy to find on Google Podcasts. But giving this a review will help with the reach of this podcast. So I appreciate it so much. Thank you. So I wanted to delve into the topic of how often should you get a reading with a psychic, whether it's a medium, a tarot card reader. I can only speak to those two actually. So you know what? Let me just stick to those two. So this is something that I have come across before with people that have been sitters with me, or people who've been on the other side of the reading table with me. And it's something that my peers and my colleagues who do intuitive work, something that they also encounter in their careers as tarot card readers, as mediums. I'm going to tell you what I think from the very top of this episode. I personally feel you should space out readings. I usually recommend to people, at least at this point in my career as a reader, I recommend 2 to 3 months apart. I think 3 is a good number for me personally. And I think it's a good number for the person or the people that I usually tend to read. And I've only been asked this once or twice by people, I believe. Here's why. Imagine I am a friend of yours. Hopefully I already am, because you just hear my voice all the time through this podcast. If not, no hard feelings. But let's say I'm your friend. Back to hypotheticals. Let's say I'm your friend, a really good friend you like to trust in, and you are having issues with a romantic partner. You come to me and you say, Juan, this is what XYZ, what the person, my SO, significant other, this is what they're doing. I don't know what to do. Can you give me advice? I give you some advice. Do 1, 2, 3. You go back, then you come back again. You come back a week later. Juan, it's still happening. I don't know what to do. What should I do? Well, I think you should still do 1, 2, 3. You go. You come back 2 weeks later. Juan, I don't know what to do. I don't know about this relationship. They keep doing it. What do I do? And then I say, okay, well, listen, my dear. I love you, but you keep coming to me with the same question. And I told you the first 2 times, do 1, 2, 3. And because you are coming back repetitively about it to me, there must be something you're not trusting about what I'm saying to you, number one. But more than that, what's even more important is you are trying to validate something you're thinking that is the opposite of what I'm suggesting to you. So I'm telling you to do 1, 2, 3. But instead you are focusing on 4, 5, 6. And you are stuck on that. And so if you're coming to me being focused on 4, 5, 6, and after hearing me twice tell you 1, 2, 3, but continuing to ask me for advice, probably knowing that I'll give you the same advice again, that means there's a disconnect. There's some disconnect happening here. So to tie it into readings, that's exactly what I am concerned can happen in readings that are not spaced apart enough. Now, I've been almost at fault for doing this. I had a time in my life where I booked psychics because I was feeling really desperate about something. I was feeling really in my emotions about a relationship. Will this relationship continue? Will we break up? I don't know what to do. There's something wrong with me. And then I would book a psychic like the same day. After Well, the first time I booked this one psychic, it was a wonderful experience, but I didn't book them because I was in this crazy fight or flight moment. The second time I booked them, I was in fight or flight. The first time, I was having some feelings about my relationship. I was feeling a little doubtful about it, but I wasn't ready to lift the car or ready to, I don't know, punch my pillow. Whereas the second time, I was so stressed out, and I booked a psychic reading with the same person because I was so stressed out, and it wasn't a good reading. And at the time, I thought, well, they were good the first time. All of a sudden, this time, they're not on point. They're not like delivering messages, or they're not being, their evidence is not good enough. And it's quite possible that my energy was so off that I didn't let them read me correctly. That can happen. So I am no perfect person. I've done this before, okay? And now that I'm on the other side of that table as a reader, other side of that Zoom camera, so to speak, I have this rule that I do not recommend anyone who books a reading with me to schedule another reading within 2 or 3 months. Because imagine that you go to a reading and then you book another reading and another reading 2 weeks, let's say within the span of 6 weeks, and every single reading has to do with the same energy and the same question. What different answer are you expecting to get, you know? And something that a colleague told me recently that really hits nail on the head for me is if you keep doing that, uh, well, let there be space for something about that situation that you're going to the psychic about. Let something change first. Let something evolve first before you go back to that same psychic or another psychic and ask another question about it. Because then at some point, you're taking advantage of the energy of the psychic. Now, there are a lot of psychics that are willing to take advantage of you too. So this is where it's definitely a dance. And I, as an intuitive worker, have to be responsible for my energy, and I also have to be ethical regarding your energy and how I read your energy. I don't feel comfortable when someone asks me, we just had a reading, and then 2 days later they say, can we have a reading in 3 weeks from now or 2 weeks from now? And it's usually about the same thing. Usually, if the next reading will be about a different situation, then maybe it's fair to have another reading. But how am I, as the person who's reading? You could tell me, okay, today was about my boyfriend, and then 2 days later, Juan, now I want a reading about my job. How do I know that you are going to come in and we're just going to talk about your job? It's very likely, and it happens so often in a reading that we talk about everything going on in your life, and it's not just focused on your job. That's in my experience as a reader. I rarely stick to the one topic that they came in to explore, because we don't live in vacuums. We don't work at our jobs in a vacuum, and our job is not affected by anything else in our life. Of course it is. It's affected by how we are interacting with our spouses and our partners at home, how we are interacting with our kids, how we are interacting with our self-care routine or our workout routine. It's all related. So how am I as a psychic supposed to really be so sure and guarantee that, okay, this next reading is going to be about something different because they told me so? And that's where I have to protect my energy. And that's why I also say, I've said this, I think, once before, either on the podcast or on social media somewhere on Instagram. Any psychic who wants to give you a reading every day or every week, be very cautious about them. I don't mean to sound judgmental, but there is so much space to respect each other's energies. And it's not just one way. It's not just about you respecting the psychic. The psychic has to respect your energy too. And this kind of brings me to a little bit of a tangential side topic. People often go to psychics to talk about romance and money. And with romance, usually someone will book a psychic reading to talk about a person they're with or a person they want. Now, I have always told people when they book a reading with me. Let's say they have a challenging situation with their parent, with their spouse, with their partner, with their boyfriend, girlfriend, with their romantic partner. And they want me to, like, I think one time I got a question of, what should my boyfriend do? Or what is the best thing for my boyfriend to do? Something that respect. And I told them, well, to be honest, if you're going to do a reading with me, I cannot read your boyfriend's energy because I don't have his permission to read his energy. But you're here. So I can read your energy and see what comes up in the cards and what they say about how you can show up or interact with this situation that includes your boyfriend. But I can't tell you what I think your boyfriend should do because I don't have his permission to read his energy. Can you just imagine that you're on the other side of that coin? Let's say you find out that your significant other was going to a psychic to try and read your mind. I don't know about you, but I'd be pretty furious. I'd be really uncomfortable with that. Now, yes, what someone doesn't know won't hurt them, but I believe in for me that I draw the line at I don't read other people's energy unless I have the permission to do so. Sometimes spirit will give me a dose of the other person's energy. That will happen. But when it comes to intimate details or making a decision for the person that isn't present or a command, it doesn't personally sit right with me. It is possible that I can pick up on the energy of the other person in relation to how it interacts with you who booked the reading with me. So back to the original topic. There is a reason for spacing out your readings. You want to make sure that you are not using it addictively. It's very, 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 very easy to become addicted to psychic readings. Just like how it's very easy to become addicted to delicious food or addicted to sex or addicted to insert blank here. Anything that feels good, that feels great, but that we can take advantage of to a point where it takes over our life. So it's crucial to really examine how you feel when you're booking a psychic reading. And look, if you're grieving because of the loss of a loved one, of course it's okay to book a mediumship reading. If you are upset because you lost your job, of course it's okay to book a tarot card reading or any other psychic reading. But only you know when you are doing something for your own benefit. Remember what I said in the last podcast episode? When to know whether you're getting a bit of insight from the universe or from your own human monkey mind. When you're feeling a decision and you are feeling this strong dose of fear or anxiety, but especially fear, for me personally, that's when I know that I shouldn't make that decision. And looking back, I know that I booked that second psychic appointment that day I had a fight or flight feeling. I know I booked it feeling very afraid, feeling very anxious about the situation. It's different when you feel like you're in a place where you are observing your situation. You have feelings about it. And then you take a next action step. One of them being booking a reading to get more insight on the situation. Only you can determine where that line is drawn for you, because I know myself very well to know when I can tell the difference between those two types of emotions, or those two states of emotion, rather. So I leave it up to you. But I think when I say something like, make sure to space out your readings, that's different person to person. It's different relationship to relationship in regards to the relationship between the psychic and the sitter. Because some psychics, whether this is appropriate or not, I leave it up to each psychic and each sitter. Some psychics and sitters become friends because they know each other for so long, or they just know each other. Maybe they don't become close friends of any sort, but some people have psychics they've seen for years and they know them so well they're on a friendly basis. They don't go out for drinks maybe, or they don't go out for dinner, but they have a rapport, And only in that situation, only those two people, I mean to say, can determine how comfortable they are with each other and how often they can see each other. That's up to them. Otherwise, whether it's that situation or otherwise, it's really up to you to know when you are booking a reading out of desperation, out of feeling like you have nothing left. So if I've disappointed you in this episode as someone who books psychic readings, who maybe in the future wanted to book a reading with me or a series of readings, I'm sorry, but this is me trying to be as ethical as possible as a reader. And I could easily, and so can the next psychic, be the type of workers who, we could be the type of people who just want your money. We just want to make money, period. Someone who will be mindful about how you book them, how often you book them, what you cover in the reading together, how open the energy is. That's someone who truly cares about the craft of intuitive work. So while you may feel a little disappointed, it's important for you to know that that is what makes the difference between an ethical and an unethical person who does this work. That's my personal opinion. That opinion may change in the future, but that's my opinion today, and I'm going to stick to it for now. I'm pretty firm about it, really firm about it. If something proves to me otherwise, like if I learn one day that no, booking a reading every week with the same person for the same matter or subject, that's totally fine. If I ever come to that conclusion one day, I'll let you know. But for now, I consider that a sign that there is a taking advantage of on both ends of the spectrum. And a lot of people who start out their intuitive work, whether it's tarot card readers or mediums or otherwise, they, in the beginning, have to learn that. There's a learning curve there because we want to help people. We really want to help people. And there's really wonderful intention there. And yet we also have to learn we have to be kind to ourselves as the people doing the work. And that we learn how much we don't want to take advantage of people's wallets. It's not fair. That's not fair at all. So that's what I have for you today. And I hope that this gave you a little bit of insight as you book your next psychic reading in the future. And I will leave you to the rest of your day. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Bye.